Welcome to the latest edition of Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime with me, Marchant, Kenney, and today's show is going to be fantastic. We have a solid interview with Nasty Bunch legend Rod Davis, and we've got a story about a great play from last season at Texas State where we won the game in the last minute from Chandler Pittman. And then something always that's great are the fan comments, and that's coming next in this segment we call Four and Out. Well, this week on Twitter, I asked the Southern Miss Nation, how would you describe Pete Taylor Park magic to somebody who doesn't understand it? I had a lot of good comments come in, but I only get to four because that's the name of the segment, Four and Out. First up, Matt Rockwell comes in again. He says, what I've heard is that every time a fan's heart got ripped out at the Rock or Reed Green, they would go and bury it at the Pete. With the loving care of Coach Denson, Palmer, Barry, it is nurtured and loved so that one day a fantastic memory occurs. Great one right there, Matt. Next up, SBC Ref says, it's when a random bag of chips show up, or a paddle, or a banana, or a pair of socks, or a cat just appears out of nowhere, or a phantom umpire call that goes our way. Good way to describe it, SBC Refs. Next up, Attack Eagles says the Eagles are never out of it, never give up on them, especially at home. The Eagles always got something up their sleeve. This program just finds a way. The other teams are always like, how they do it? Because it's just like magic. And that's absolutely right. A lot of magic. And finally, Chad Kennedy says, when the late innings get here, hold on to your butt because the Eagles are about to kick it. And yeah, there have been a lot of butt kickings at Pete Taylor Park through the years from the Eagles. Well, as you know, this show is huge with interviews, and this next one is going to be absolutely awesome. And I got to have a moment of honesty here, too. You know, I have a lot of football players from Southern Miss that I do love to watch through the years. I mean, shoot, my teammates had to run through a brick wall for them. But if you pinned me down and said, hey, Marchant, who's your favorite Southern Miss football player that you watched of all time? I got to tell you, it's with this next interview we got coming in here. It's legendary linebacker Rod Davis. And well, with all that said, I was so fired up to catch up with him recently, and here we go. Well, today's interview comes with one of the best Southern Miss football nasty bunch players of all time. That's right, my friend and the legendary linebacker Rod Davis. And I can't thank you enough for being on the show, Rod. How's the world treating you, man?
Man, good to be here. I'm glad to have an opportunity to sit here and talk with you and reminisce about some great times down in Southern Miss.
Absolutely, man. There are a ton of them. We're going to have a lot of fun in this talk for sure. Man, let's get into some of your accolades real quick, though. Three-time All-American at Southern Miss, the Connerly Trophy Award winner in 2003 for being the best player in the state of Mississippi, the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year in 2002. Man, you were even a Playboy All-American. 9-year professional career, man. And there's more in between there, but I try to hit on the big ones, Rod. How's those accolades make you feel looking back?
Man, it's humbling. It makes me feel good because I can bring back those accolades every time. I got 3 boys total, 2 here that up here at Florence High School, and every time they give me the stink eye, like I don't know what I'm talking about, I say, man, pull up my resume, Google me, and so it has weight in that part of it, you know what I'm saying? But it was some great times, great memories, and I'm just so thankful and blessed for them.
Oh, heck yeah, your resume, man. You'd win every job interview for football out there, man, with your resume. And one of my favorite stats to you before we get kind of your history and a lot of Southern Miss talk, you finished at Southern Miss with 526 career tackles. In my eyes, that's third of all time. Officially, they'll say fourth because a guy from Troy with a 6th year of eligibility, moved first. In my eyes, you're still third out of all the college football players of all time, 526 tackles. Man, is your body good, man? I mean, that's a lot of tackles, right?
Yeah, man, I was fortunate and blessed, as I'm a head football coach, and I tell my players, man, availability is the best ability. And that's one of the things I was able to have. I missed one game my senior year with a separated shoulder, but if it was a must-need game, I could have played. So I was blessed to be very fortunate to stay healthy, man, and be able to play on some great teams with by far, I think in my time, some of the best defensive linemen that's ever played in the country. So, when you playing behind, the said guys, the Dick Thomas, and some of those guys like that, Darryl Stewart's, man, it makes life a whole lot easier, man. So I give kudos to those. I was just able to, I guess, reap the benefits of getting the tackles where I just had to tackle the ball carrier, not defeat blocks.
Man, Nasty Bunch was in full effect when you were there, Rod. So, but man, it all had to start somewhere. Started on the Gulf Coast, Gulfport, Mississippi, Gulfport High School with basketball and football, man. So you were hooping it up a little bit too in high school.
Man, I'm a hooper, man. I tell everybody, the coast people, we think we hoopers first, man. So my first love was basketball. And we just loved playing basketball down there, and I enjoyed it. I gotta give a shout out to kind of Coach Brian Caldwell, who was my basketball coach, who's probably one of the most influential people in my life, who I guess kind of changed my life to this degree. And I'll give you a quick story. So it's my senior year. And my 10th grade year, I started at corner. 11th grade year, I started at safety. I was nothing but 170 pounds, something like that. And third game, Coach Ronnie Quays, my football coach, wanted to move me to linebacker. I was like, linebacker? Man, I ain't playing no linebacker with no 300 pounders. I'm a DB, man. And I was like, man, I like basketball anyway. I don't see a future in football. So I was like, so the next day, instead of going to football practice, I went to the basketball gym. I said, Coach Caldwell, you always say you couldn't wait till the football players get in here and play basketball. Well, man, I'm here. So, I'm here. I'm done with football. He was like, come on in my office. So I go in his office. He's like, you want to play at the next level? I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely want to play at the next level. He was like, I know you work hard and stuff like that. He said, in basketball, the best thing you can get is a D4 scholarship. And I was like, D4? I was like, whatever. Scholarship. I'm going to play basketball. And he said, Rod, there's no such thing as D4. He said, you're not a college basketball player. He said,
I was even counting D4.
Hey, if you want a shot at playing at the next level, you're going to take your butt out there to the football field and go win your spot. And I say that to this day. And, you get a lot of sports now, coaches, high school coaches, select coaches trying to make kids one sport guys. And I always go back to that with Coach Caldwell. He could have easily said, come on in here, play basketball, be a pretty good high school basketball player, but never see the light of day of anything in college. He could have easily did that, and I probably would have went for it, and my life would have been forever changed. So, man, it's big kudos. Coach Brian Caldwell is a big Southern Miss guy. He's season ticket holder. His mom, if anybody will see me in the touchdown club, I'm always sitting by his mom and stuff like that. So, man, they're big supporters of me, and I just thank them so much, man. I just had to get out there.
No, I love that story so much. And Southern Miss is thankful that you chose football, man, after the career you had. But with that said, man, so you had a great career in high school. It came time for college. How'd you wind up at Southern Miss?
Coach Buckley was on me hard. You know what I'm saying? He was the first one to reach out and kind of trying to get me there. He stayed on me, and I built a relationship with him. And I really, when I came up to watch some basketball games, came up to watch different stuff football-wise, I really liked it. The other connection was we already had two Gulfport guys there. Those had a big connection with those guys. And then, at the last minute, I never forget, it was Southern Miss, but I had a thing for State, man. I used to like Mario Hagan. You know what I'm saying?
I remember the name, yeah.
Mario Hagan. He played with that Jolie Dunn defense and different stuff like that. And State at the last on signing day tried to come in at the last minute and offer me, man. And I was like, no, I'm already committed to Southern, and it was the best choice, one of the best choices of my life, man.
Man, that's awesome, and thank goodness you did. So, but yeah, you redshirt 99, just put on a little bit more size or what have you. You're going out there and shoot, TJ Slaughter's there, man. You get to kind of share linebacker ideas with TJ Slaughter, so which might have to be a fun thing. But 2000 comes in, man. It's your time to shine. So with that said, this name of this show, anyone, anywhere, anytime, it's a real slogan, people. Rod Davis's first year, their first 3 games to start the season at number 13, Tennessee, at number 15, Alabama, and at Oklahoma State. I mean, that's anyone, anywhere, anytime. So your first game's at number 13, Tennessee. We almost pulled the upset too. But how was that experience for you, man? First game, big SEC lights.
See, I'm glad to share is because everybody think everything was glory. We're playing Tennessee. It's our first game. They're highly ranked. They're coming off a national championship. T. Martin had just won a national championship the year before. 108,000, 110,000. Wasn't able to talk to the guy next to me. It was so freaking loud. But what people don't know is I graded out one of the worst linebacker grades ever in U.S. history. I'll never forget, I played 46 snaps, and I was on the ground 31. And you know, Marchant, when you're on the ground, that's a negative. You know what I mean? So
that sounds like me in a couple games, but we're not talking about that. It's your show, man.
Hey, if we was on the and all what happened was in practice, I got bad habits because our D-line was so good that instead of doing my proper steps, I was being lazy and just running around, crossover running and doing stuff inside the box. And then when we played Tennessee, where they had Anthony Munoz son, they had, some really good tight end was Witten that was at Cowboys for all those years and stuff like that. They was very serviceable, better than serviceable. So, they whooped my tail. And, after that game, man, I lost my starting spot. The next week, coach pulled me in and said we're gonna split reps, with Chris Vaughn. And I'm like, God dang, Chris, okay. So the next week roll into Alabama.
And let's talk about that game, man. One of the biggest wins in Southern Miss history, too. At number 15, Alabama, but you tell the story.
One of the biggest one, man. It come in, like you said, we should have beat Tennessee scored late in the game. They got an 83-yard slant late in the game that kind of cost us. They had some great athletes. Then we go into Alabama hungry, like you said, and we whooped their tail, 21-0. You know what I mean? I'm talking about defense was a defensive beatdown. It was one of the best performers on the defensive side that I've been a part of. And the part of it was the best part. It wasn't the best part at the time for me, but the best part for the team and overall was majority of it. I was on the sideline. Chris Vaughn is having a career day.
Oh, man.
He's out there 15. I think he had like 12, 13 tackles. Man. So it's one of those surreal things. You like, man, but why I said it was really good for the team wasn't me at that time, but what it made me, man, it made me go back in the lab. It made me hungry. It made me say, man, I would not be on this sideline again. And that start to my career that really people don't know about really humbled me to outwork everybody that was in front of me, everybody before me, everybody that was after me, man. And from then on in, Chris Vaughn started that next game, Oklahoma State. And then after that, I started the rest of my career.
Yeah, man. And that gave you that hunger and drive, and people recognize that about you to this day. That made you a great player. So, yeah, you said y'all beat Oklahoma State. So that tough start to the season, you're 2-1, man. That's what we did back then. That's what Rod Davis did back then. And then get to number 13 in the nation at one point in the season, highest ranking in 20 years for Southern Miss.
Yes.
Which leads to one of the coolest games of all time in Southern Miss history, the GMAC Bowl. Against at that time, number 13 TCU and Heisman finalist running back LaDainian Tomlinson. And you put on a show. The defense put on a show, man. Talk about that big game.
Man, it was wonderful. Have an opportunity to go play LT, who's a Hall of Famer, one of the best backs of his generation in college and in the NFL. Story about that game. So, we got to play. I think it's called Tiger, where the defensive linemen line up wide. They're in wide three. So the A gaps or protected. I mean, or for me, I got both A gaps and really both A gap to A gaps right there. So it's really difficult. Normally you have a 3 and a shade, but this defense is kind of built for pass. So we kept getting in it and they kept running draw. So it's me and LT one-on-one, like it seemed like 4 times in a row. And man, when I say he is giving me the business that first drive, and I remember we called timeout. And this is where I tell our kids, our players, that players, you'll get more from your teammates than you would a coach. John Nix grabbed me by my face mask and looked me in my eye. It felt like he stuck his hand in my face, you know what I'm saying, and say, son, you don't get it together, we're gonna. So it was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I got it. And from that on in, man, I went on to have like 16, 17 tackles, made Sports Illustrated All Bowl team. But man, that fear, but that same motivation, man, it just, I never forget that graph and that look in his eye that say, man, we're counting. And then at the end, he said all that, but man, we're counting on you. So I tell all my coaches, man, coach them hard, be on them hard, but their lasting thing of whatever you said to them need to be that they know that you care. And that's what he said. He said, man, we got your back. And I was like, let's go get it. And from then on, we had a good run. And the only thing I hate about that game, at the fourth quarter, we was going to be the only team that held LT under 100 yards, and he took an option about 80. And that's the only thing that, you know what I'm saying, the only thing that was damper on that game right there.
Yeah, but Rod, nobody takes any shame from that game, man. Y'all shut them down basically, and LT is going to do an LT thing every now and then, you know. But huge win. I mean, it was ESPN, Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit calling the game. I mean, it was just a huge event for Southern Miss and a big crowd when you held up that trophy, and it's a big Southern Miss moment. So your freshman year finishes up, your freshman All-American, all bowl team, making a name for yourself. Get into the next season, man, and get another big win at Oklahoma against Oklahoma State at the Rock, man. How was that beating Oklahoma State back-to-back years?
Man, it was it was good. You know what I mean? Like I say, our slogan, like you said, the name of this show, man, that's what we preach. That's what we harped on. And I tell you a little bit, man, the era that when I came in, everything was built off living up to you guys. You know what I'm saying? The TJ Slaws, the Marchant, Kenney, because we had, or as me personally, we had a great run at inside linebackers. Let's go, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing. I was talking to McGrath, you know, it's probably last year sometime, you know what I mean? We was just talking about, man, I about need to do some research on middle linebackers and which colleges had the best. And I know if we're not at the top, the number one, we're right somewhere that ain't close, man. So we was always trying to live up to the guy that was in front of us, and then just getting another big win against Oklahoma State, another big program, you know, playing out there. It was really good.
Man, that's funny you say that, though. I played in the 90s, and then I passed the baton to TJ, passed the baton to you. By the time it's you and TJ, I'm like, man, they can forget about me with these two cats. Y'all just took the baton and ran with it, man.
Oh, man, it was, you know, I don't think you probably don't remember your first time you had we did an interview, and man, I said, man, I TJ, because TJ was my big brother, but man, just looking back at the old film, man, I want to be legendary like you, man. You on some great photos, you on some great teams. You know, you pull up that Pittsburgh game, man. Those are legendary, man, and that's what I wanted to be, because you know I wanted something that just solidified, you know, that every time they see it, they think, you know, I think somebody had it on Twitter. Every time you see this, what you think about, you know what I'm saying? And that's what legendary is, man. And I always wanted that moment. And, you know, from my era, you started that for me, man. Well,
I appreciate that, man. I promise you the impact you made on Nasty Bunch terms is second to none, man. But I want to talk about another game from that 2001 season, man. You talk about defensive slugfest against UAB. The final score is 3-0. How is it playing in a game when the final score is 3-0, man, for middle linebacker?
It's a lot of fun. And what, you know, people remember back then is that if you look back, UAB had 2 first rounders on the defense. That was like the first time ever it happened. So I was like, I'm licking my chops. I got to be the best defensive player on this field because I knew the scouts was watching because they coming to see these guys play. I think the dude's name was Brian Thomas. He played DN and it was an inside nose tackle, I think. So it was great, man. You love those type games, man. You know, my wife still talk about that today. She's like, I love that type game. You know, another good one, we played TCU. Our battles with TCU, each game I think was legendary. People forget about the 14-12 at our house. You know what I mean? So, but that UAB, man, it was one of those things where, you know, those guys had a great defense and we had to show them that our defense was better. So, you know, and it was early on, like I said, early on in my career. That was the year after, you know, said Scott and all them guys left. So I was looked upon in more of a leadership role than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. You shared some stories about leadership on a couple prior shows, and I appreciate that, man. So, but like I said, at this point, 2001, you're making a huge name for yourself. And I kind of want to get into, since you're in the groove of Southern Miss at this point in 2001, man, how is it like being coached by head coach Jeff Bauer?
Oh, man, great. Great leader, great mentor. Meant a lot to me. You know, we didn't always see eye to eye getting there, but you know, a crazy thing, man, you study, learn stuff as you get older. So as I'm there, right, so I never forget, after TJ leaves, all the media, everybody come, who's going to replace TJ? Who's going to replace TJ? Who's going to do this? At this time, I am pissed, upset. I'm like, man, I'm going to get TJ. So everything's up easy. So, you know, my freshman year, I win freshman All-American. Get what's the name? I'm like, okay, I put the TJ stuff away. Next year, well, TJ would have did this, TJ would have did that. So you know how Steve Young used to think about Joe Montana, that monkey out his back, and I was like, man, what I gotta do to get this guy? And you know, it was one of my senior year. Coach Bauer come in there. Well, if TJ was here, this wouldn't happen on this team. It would be done like this, that. I'm like, man, I'm not EJ. So, but that burn. And that just drove me so much. And man, it wasn't until last year, a guy who walked onto the team said, man, a lot of that was planted. Coach Bauer knew how to motivate you, and he knew that would burn you up. And I said, man, I dislike that guy. I dislike Jeff Bauer sometime back then because he always used to talk about TJ. I'm like, give me my props. But knowing that's like legendary for 20 years for me to find that out. And that's what, you know, when we was at the basketball game of a month ago, and that's what I told him, man, I appreciate it, man, because you don't know how that drove me. And I hope I can have that type of impact on a kid or kids that I'm coaching, man. That was crazy. 20 years, you know what I'm saying? It was still motivating me about TJ and find out it was all planned, all the coaching strategy to get the best out of me.
Man, that's so funny. That's funny you say that. Coach Bauer knew how to get to you, man. So like, I'm a New Orleans guy, born and raised. Tulane didn't offer me a football scholarship. When it was Tulane week, he made sure he reminded me that, you know, Tulane didn't offer you. They said you weren't good enough. He knew what to do.
hey, he's great, man. I'm telling you.
He knew what to do.
Man, I'm talking about. So it was good times, man. He changed another guy that really influenced my life a whole lot.
Oh, yeah, and I want to talk about one more guy who really influenced you, man. You talk about come out the shadow. I had to come out the shadow of middle linebacker Tyrone Nix when I started, man. They called him quarterback because he knew the defense so well, man. I had a huge shadow to get out of. Tyrone Nix was a stud, man.
Yeah.
But he was your defensive coordinator most of the time when you were at Southern Miss. What was it like being coached by an intense guy like Tyrone Nix?
I say a lot of my coaching strategy and energy is brought through Coach Nix. I learned from him. He's probably, you know what I'm saying, if not the most, because we still have a real strong relationship now. You know, I was going, you know, after COVID and different stuff, and my football team a couple of years ago, we won one football game, man. I was in a real bad place, and just not thinking that I wasn't the guy for this, my school, my high school that I'm in. And, he called me, uplifted me. And then he was like, hey, man, why don't you start, signing on to, we got a Bible study every Friday morning at 5 a.m. I said, all right, golly. But, man, since then, so I've been on this thing 2 years now, man. It really done gave me a sense of, calmness and knowing that, even though it is important, it ain't important. Family, God and people that you care about and love, that's what's important, man. It's over wins and losses. So, man, back then he's changed my life and he started doing it 20 years from now, man. I gotta give it up to him, you know what I'm saying, for all that he's did for me then and all he's doing for me now.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tyrone Nix was my mentor when I first got to Southern Miss my redshirt year. He's impacted so many lives, man. It still does to this day. But let's get back to the football field now, Rod. So 2002, people know your name, man. You're getting recognized out there. You finished 2002 with 168 tackles, which leads the nation, man. So just an unbelievable number. Getting into that season or a couple games, y'all are still doing fantastic things. Beat Illinois, another big name win. How was that Illinois win at the Rock?
Man, it was good, I don't know who did the schedule back then, but that was great because Illinois, man, by the second quarter, them balls was falling out like flies. It was so hot for them. So we really, but the one thing I remember that game, man, and early that season, man, and the guy that really helped me, at school was Baby Bull, man. Baby Bull was that year. He was early conditioned for Heisman, man. And that's the year that that's the game that we kind of figured it was something going on with him. You know what I mean? Because he's running for 200 yards, but, you see him.
And anybody doesn't know Baby Bull, Derek Nix, running back Derek Nix. So,
he's, throwing up and we realized something that was going on. So that's the one memory I remember of him. I think he ran for like 212 yards, man. And it was just ridiculous what he was doing, man. It was unfortunate that he wasn't able to finish that year off, but, he still moved on. He's healthy to bigger things now. But, man, that's the one thing I do remember about that game. Baby Bull is just running all over those guys, man. And what was crazy that year with Baby Bull, before he was really Baby Bull, he ran everybody over. That 2002 year, he got speed with it. So he was outrunning folks to the end zone. So, man, he brought speed with power. So, man, that was a good start there.
Man, Rod, linebacker to linebacker talk. So at my time, Harold Shaw was the guy I kind of had to strap it up a little bit tighter in practice to go head to head with. I'm like, I'm going to get a damn headache hitting Harold anymore. How is it like hitting Derek Nix in practice? Because I know a Rod Davis, Derek Nix collision, man, that's about as good as it gets.
Man, it's, iron sharpen iron, you know what I mean? And every day we battled it out. And that 2002 season, man, I sit here and won't lie to you that the year that I had was probably a lot of what he did, because I had to practice with him, against him each and every day. And, man, it was battles. I didn't win all of them. He didn't win all of them. But we got up and did it over and over and over again. And we got better and better and better, So it was like when he went down, I was like, whew. At least I get a break from practice. But I missed him in the game, but in practice, I like, man, God, he's tough. You know what I'm saying? At the time, you're not thinking that it's getting you better, but you think like, man, you finna have to scrap it up when 4-3 lines up and they hand that ball off to him. So
Yep. Well, I love those stories, man. Linebacker to linebacker talk right there. Iron sharpens iron. So you had a game in 2002, man. We got to talk about where you really showed out. Cincinnati, man, was one of those games you in the zone, or just kind of one of them linebacker things, just feeling the flow? I mean, the Cincinnati game, you were tearing it up, man.
Man, it was a few games that I felt really good, man, and that was one of them. It was a few games I felt really good. And then also it was a few games that I think I put too much pressure on myself, especially in my senior year. We'll get into that a little later. But that was one of those games, man. I was in my groove. the pressure really hasn't mounted yet because I'm getting notoriety, but I'm still kind of under the radar just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But kind of after this game, man, it kind of put me up there in the real talks of, might have a chance at winning the Buckets. It might be a finalist, you know what I'm saying? And it put me in that realm, and the heat started to pick up after that. But it was one of those things, man, I'm a power counter guy. You try to run power and counter, I'm about to eat your lunch. That's what I can read guards. If I'm unable to do anything, I'm gonna be able to read some guards and find out tendencies. And that's what they try to do. And man, we came right at them that day.
Heck yeah, you did, man. And you were up for every Butkus Award conversation by this time in your career, man. And what a career in 2002 up to that point. I mean, at the end of 2002, you win the Connerly Trophy, man, the best football player in the state of Mississippi. And that one's cool. But guys like you and me, I think an even cooler award maybe in some ways, man. You were the 2002 on the Playboy All-American team, man. It's a cool photo, you with all the other football players. It was a one-time. I actually read the article, man, in Playboy, because I'm like, my guy Rod Davis is in there. So how was that being on the Playboy team, man?
Man, it was great. I'll take the story that weekend, man. It was graduation weekend. So it's the same graduation weekend was the same weekend as the Playboy All-American. They flew out on Thursday. My graduation was Friday night. And all I wanted, Mama, I need to go out here. I said, I already graduated. What's walking across the stage? That's not, boy, you gonna walk across that dang stage. I was like, Mom, I want to go fly out here with Eli, Kellen Winslow, all these great players, man. I'm gonna miss this and miss that. Rod, you're going to be the first one to walk across that stage in our family. You're going to walk across that stage. So, man, yeah, I walked across that stage, and then I flew out early Saturday morning, and I get there, man, and I never forget, because now at this time, because that happened in May, at this time, the pressure is mounting. You know what I'm saying? Because now I just declared to come back for my senior year. Now I'm feeling all the heat, and I remember sitting down in a restaurant with Eli Manning. At this time we done talked a month because we've been on a lot of award shows in Mississippi together over the years, so we kind of built a relationship. And I just asked him, like, man, how does it feel to be Peyton's brother and Archie's son? And only Eli way, what you see on TV, Eli, man, it is what it is. So how even keel he is, and I'm like, man, you don't feel the heat, man. I'm gonna do my best and go about my way. And I'm like, what? I mean, I'm just the whole Gulfport thinking I'm about to say Gulfport, I'm about to be the savior, I'm about to do this, and you not, man. I'm just so I sometimes I look back at that, man, and I tell my kids, be Eli, and what that mean? Even keel. I said, be Eli. And sometimes I got to tell myself, be Eli, be even keel. And man, that's one thing I learned off him to be. But man, we had a great time, man, out there at Playboy. They flew us out to Arizona. I don't know what rated this camera is, but it was a good time out there, brother. I just
I can only imagine. I'm glad you had a great time, and all that flying under the radar stuff you're talking about early in your career is gone now.
Yes.
You're in Playboy magazine. There's a big picture of Rod Davis. People know who you are. And now you're getting into your senior year, man. You didn't go to the NFL, and Southern Miss is thankful for it. And you have an incredible senior career, 148 tackles. You wound up being the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, All-American. I mean, you are just, there's no more talk of TJ, no more talk of me, no more talk of Tyrone Nix. It's Rod Davis, baby. End of story. And I want to get to one game, if you don't mind, and we can backtrack to some others if you want. Man, TCU, Thursday night in 2003, undefeated. They're number 9. Prime time. Everybody's watching Hattiesburg, Mississippi, man. If there's a game I'm jealous I didn't play in, it's that one. So just share the moment, share the stories from TCU 2003 Thursday night.
Man, great. I go back to that 2020 season. we're, I think, 7-1. Like you said, we're ranked 13 in the country, and Louisville is coming in town. And now, back then,
2000 season, 2000 season.
2000,
Yep.
2000.
Yep.
Now, back then it was the BCS, and you had to get in the top 6. So that week, if we win that game that year, we get in we get close to the top 6, and we got a shot to get in the BCS. So, but we lost. Louisville knocked us out. That was the same thought process for us with TCU. Remember, they came in ranked. They beat us. They become conference champion. It's a great shot. They get in that top 6. And, that's all they talk about, getting in that top 6. We're like, nah, man, we're a better team. We've been beating y'all since, since we started playing each other. And, so we jumped on them fast, man. Particularly defensively, man, the two guys that stick out was Michael Boley and Greg Brooks. They made some game-changing plays. Brooks with the script sack, Boley with 2 or 3 sacks, man. He was another phenomenal, player. And actually, my senior year, Boley was the better linebacker that year. You know what I'm saying? He was unblockable, man. And so we tag team to make a really good combination. Him and Antoine Cash, but man, jumping up early. I tell you this, we jumped up early, and then we kind of relaxed a little bit, and that thing started to slide a little bit, man. It got some butts got tight on that sideline for a few minutes, but we hung on the thing that we had. We knew we had a really good defense. We had several guys to go on and play in the NFL, and, we let them back in it a little bit, but we knew we can fall back on our senior leaderships, and that's what happened. Greg Brooks made a play, then Ettrick Pruitt made a play, then Alex Ray made a play, and then I can't remember who iced it by getting on the onside.
I want to say Brooks was on a cornerback blitz, and you got that final fumble to seal the game. Am I correct? Yep.
That's exactly what it is, exactly how it happened. And then, man, I'm unable to remember the reporter who I was doing the interview with. He was a younger guy, I remember. And I can remember, I'm looking at him, and I can just see that goal post. And I'm like, oh, my freaking God. This is the moment I've been talking about. This is the moment I've been talking about. So that was great, man. And then just seeing everybody just rushed the stadium and jumped through, man. It was unbelievable, man. So the moment, I always clammed about, that was it, man. It was wonderful.
Right. Chill bumps. I kid you not. You can't see me chill bumps thinking about it. Like I said, I'm not a jealous guy, but I am jealous of you being able to play in that game, man. It is the most special moment you'll ever find in Southern Miss athletics history, not just football. Goalpost coming down at the Rock, man, and a huge win. Knocking off TCU.
I tell you another thing. I wasn't there because I redshirted, but I can remember we didn't win this game, but it's 99 Nebraska, and Nebraska gave us a standing ovation coming off, and I was like, wow. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was, you talk about moments you want to be a part. I'm like, man, we didn't win. They giving us a standing ovation. That was a moment that you'll always remember. And I'm like, man, I made the right decision. I can't wait to be on the field and have those moments and enjoy it with my teammates, man.
Man, what a moment, what a night for you. And yeah, just so many moments with the Nasty Bunch, and what a career. You guys finished undefeated in Conference USA, get back to the Liberty Bowl, which is the standard for Southern Miss back then, and came short against Utah, man. That was a really good Utah team, but it was a hell of a tough game. Defense really showed up big time. Unfortunately, didn't get the win, but man, what an unbelievable career you had, Rod. Hopefully I did you justice, man, because it's hard to get it all into one. But there's a stat I even texted you early before this interview. I can't get enough of, man. So 1/3 of the games that you played at Southern Miss, teams on the other side only scored 1 touchdown or less in 1/3 of the games. Did I do that stat justice? Because I came up with it last night. 33% of the games you played in, the other team scored 1 touchdown or less, or 10 points or less. That's nuts. That's Nasty Bunch, man.
That's Nasty Bunch at its best, man. It's I had a good senior class, that good junior class after it, man. So we just try to live on the legacy that 97 bunch had, then that 99. when I look back, people ask me this, and my heart of hearts want to say that we're better than you guys, that '03 class, but being a realist, I say them two bunches probably edged us a little bit, you know what I mean? But I wish I could say we were better than that '97 group, but man, we were good, but we still had some growing to do, and we just try to. But one thing I got on you, Marchant, we got the goalposts down. You know what I'm saying? You might have a better team. We got the goalposts down. You know what I mean?
Rod, I'm not too proud to say you had a better career than me, man. It's an honor to talk to you, and just it was so awesome to watch you play, man. And but what a hell of a career you had. And that is funny you say that, the '03 team you had versus the '97 team. Actually, on my last show, I read fan comments, and I said, which Southern Miss team would you like to recreate? And one person said the '97 football team. Another person said the 2003 football team. Man, once they invent a time machine, Rod, we're going back.
We're going back, man. Give it to me. Give it to me, man. Just, hey, I just take the experience. I don't want to take the after effect the next morning of the pain.
No, indeed. But once again, unbelievable career, Rock. You're one of the gold standards, almost could be on the Mount Rushmore of the Nasty Bunch, man. Appreciate all you did. So time for the NFL draft, man. 5th round to the Minnesota Vikings. What's that like? Now I'm on this NFL stage, and maybe some of the differences between the NFL and college.
The biggest difference I tell anybody, even from you going from in high school or anything like that, is the play of the offense and defensive line. When you talk about conference play, you go from the college play to the NFL play. That's the biggest difference, because all teams have got guys running 4.4, 4.5. But the difference is they ain't got 5 linemen up there running 4.8s at 320 pounds. You know what I'm saying? At 6'5". You like, man, hold on. How did he get to me that fast? Like, I remember, Matt Burke was an all-pro center. And, man, when he gets his hand on you, you just say, Coach, blow the whistle. It's over with. It's over with. Like, it was just locked down. Like, golly, man. So those was the thing. The biggest, the other big jump is, it's just the overall speed of it. I'm talking about from a football standpoint, the speed of it was a whole lot faster because those offensive linemen, defensive linemen move so well. And where your athleticism used to win, these old vets got so many tricks of the trades, man, that kind of whoop you. Like, man, how did you just do that? When I come in, I'm 22, 23 years old, and they got a 33-year-old linebacker. And I'm like, man, you're 35, man. How you know what I'm saying? But he just can read it. He just experienced. And there's nothing that can take over that experience. Because, it was a whole different from your freshman year to your senior year playing. So, man, it was – that part was, entertaining, but to say it was all fun, man, it was pressure. And I say this, when I got done, I said, whatever I do in my life, I would not put an amount of pressure on myself as I did. Everybody see the glory of Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, those guys. Well, yeah, it's good when you're a first round pick. You're if round, and then you gotta keep fighting and battling each and every week. You scared to walk in the locker room when you have a bad game. I tell you, the first game we playing Tampa Bay. I play about 18 snaps on defense. One of the snaps, the tight end beats me for a touchdown. So I'm just the next day, I'm like, man, I'm about to get cut. I didn't play well. Then I made the wrong call on another call. You know what I mean? And so it was tough at times, you know what I'm saying? Because you never did know. But a lifelong dream to play. My first year, I get to see Moss every day.
Can we talk about that real quick, man? What was it like being teammates? Because your first year, Randy Moss is your teammate. What was it like having Randy Moss as a teammate?
Man, first, you starstruck when you see like, dang, that is Moss, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? You're like, well, man, he's big. He ain't bigger than I thought it was. I thought he was gonna be tall. I thought he was gonna be, you know what I mean? But man, and then back at the time, how the media portrayed him, that wasn't him. Randy Moss was a person that was to himself. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to be portrayed. He was always by himself. So, you know, how he's looked in the media at the time, that wasn't him. He was a good guy, nice guy. You know, now when he said I practice when I want to practice, now he did do that now, but you know what I'm saying? But he was just that good. It's only a few cats that I played with or played against that I said it didn't matter if they worked out or not, they were still gonna be at the top of their game. And Moss is number one on that books, man. Fast, jumping ability, like uncanny. I remember him going in practice. You know, this one I knew it was D'Angelo Hall. I think he's with the NFL Network now. Well, D Hall will play with Atlanta Falcons 10, 15 year cornerback. I seen him run a 4.3, and we're playing Atlanta. And when Moss come off the line of scrimmage, he puts his hand up. And that's when Moss put his hand up, that means throw the ball deep. And, you know, Culpepper grab back and throw it far as he can. But when he put his hand up, he was 5 yards from D'Angelo. When he caught the ball, he was 5 yards in front of D'Angelo. And I said, oh, my goodness. It don't matter. You will not outthrow Moss, man. 4.2 was legit.
Golly, man.
So, man, it was good, man. I had a great time with him. You know, it was unfortunately that the business side and all of that didn't line up, but you know,
no, it is what it is, man. But thanks for the stories with Moss, man. But do you have maybe a favorite moment, like just something that really sticks out for yourself personally from the NFL, on or off the field, something like really cool, and maybe somebody'd like to hear?
I think it's Monday or Sunday night. We're playing Peyton Manning. I'm not planning to get in on this game. You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be a strictly special team play. I forget what happened, get hurt, somebody goes down, and I go in. And Peyton yelled, 50 is the mic, 50 is the mic. And I froze. Marchant, I froze. I couldn't move. I'm like, he's talking about me. He's talking about me. They snapped the ball. I'm still in the same.
In the middle of a game, you're getting starstruck. Hey, man, it's him.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you, man. People can act like they won't, man. He's talking to me. I couldn't move, man. Oh my goodness, that's one that awesome. I ain't told a lot, but man, I never told nobody back then. I just said, man, I was looking at something different, but man, I froze up. Peyton Manning is calling my number, man. So
man, that's awesome. See, that's a behind the scenes story. Thank you, Rod. Because everybody looks at you like this. No, Rod Davis might get starstruck every now and then too, even during a game.
Yes, man. Yes.
But man, no, I mean, good little run there in the NFL, man. Wraps up in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Then you decide to go play some arena football with the Philadelphia Soul. And real quick, the Philadelphia Soul are owned by the rock star John Bon Jovi, man. How is it interacting with Bon Jovi over there in Philly?
Man, he's an awesome dude, man. He was around a lot. Anytime he wasn't on concerts, he chartered us to a Bon Jovi, his concert in Madison Square Garden. And at this time, I'd done been to Beyonce, Jay-Z concerts, never been, but man, I'd never seen 26,000 from ages of like 18 to 80 year old women in there just going crazy, man. I'm like, hey, it was the best concert I ever been to, and I didn't know a song before I went in there, but after that, I downloaded all of his music. It was a great time, man. It was, man, far as everything else, Philadelphia, so I love the football part, just didn't work because it's a short field, but all of the Bon Jovi, you know, Ron Jaworski, what people forget, Ron Jaworski was our president, so he was at every practice. You know, old Jaws used to be the
Jaws, Eagles old quarterback.
He was at all our practices. So all the other stuff that they had us do, you know, and that's why today, you know, people ask me, you know, what NFL team I pull for. I pull for the Philadelphia Eagles. The reason why is because when I was with the Soul, we would go somewhere, a restaurant, anything, and they owner or whoever would treat us just like we was Eagles players, man. And I said, man, I love, you know what I'm saying? I said, I'm going to start pulling for the Eagles. And that's how, you know, if you see me with a Philadelphia Eagles shirt on, and what makes it even better, you know, I was a Golden Eagle. Now I'm a Florence Eagle, so I might as well be a Philly Eagle, you know?
And shoot, Quez Watkins up there too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Not Quez there. You
But
know,
but
so
man, in the Arena Football League, those fans are die hard, man. The ones that
yeah,
go to the games, they are like Southern Miss fans, the die hard ones. And
yeah.
but y'all win the Arena Bowl, man. I mean, that was a big deal. So how was that winning that championship?
And it was great. And the good thing about it was in New Orleans. So all my family got to come over and watch, man. So we had a good time. Bon Jovi put on the after party show after that.
I can imagine.
Hey, so we had a good time, man. And it was great. I hated the year, it folded after that year. You know what I'm saying? And just because, it had big time owners, but everybody didn't have a big time owner like Bon Jovi, so they couldn't really afford. They tried to combine the salaries and different stuff, so it was unfortunate it folded after that year. And then I was looking around, I still thought I was could play some football.
And you're dang right you could, man. Canada comes calling CFL. It's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
You go 5 years in the CFL, but I gotta ask you, man. You're from Gulfport, Mississippi. I'm from New Orleans, man. We're Southern, dude. What was that like living in Canada for 5 years with those temperatures? Come on, man.
Listen, man. Flew up there in June. It was snowing.
I've heard the summer it can snow, man.
Like I said, man, it's the two things that I tell anybody. It's snowing in June. In the sun, it's still light out at 11:30 at night. I'm like, man, what? So it was a big that, and then I get out there on the field. So I like, okay, football gonna be football, all the other stuff. And then now you got 5 people moving at the same time. They coming running at the line of scrimmage. So, man, you know how, Coach Womack, you train your eyes and stuff, man. I'm looking, well, it was Coach Thompson back in your day. I'm looking at everything. I can't train. This got so much stuff flying around. So, man.
And then in the fields, 12 yards wider than in it.
12 yards wider. The end zone is 20 yards. You know what I'm saying? So it's, a guy catch a slant, Marchant. For us inside linebackers, it's a long run, man.
And you were faster than me, so it's a long run for me.
There wasn't no angles in that CFL, man. They catch it and go. It's definitely an offensive league, man. But I had a great time, man. I my first 3, I was in Edmonton. I became an all-star there. Then I moved on to Calgary. Not Calgary. I went to Montreal. Well, Mark Trestman was the coach there. Mark Trestman later left Montreal, and he coached the Chicago Bears, head coach for, I think, a year or 2. And then from Montreal, and what happened at Montreal, man, is that, I rush so good, Marchant. You can understand it as a middle linebacker, but I am a middle linebacker, not an outside rush guy. So I can rush good inside inside the guards. I'm a good rusher like that. 2-way goals. Well, Montreal just, I guess, initially thought I can just rush outside the same way. So they brought me on, signed me, free agent deal, and had me be like an outside rusher, like a Von Miller, and that wasn't my game.
Yeah,
and I think I broke my foot, and I think if I stay in Edmonton, I still could play. I probably could have played 3 more years at least. But they put me on that D line, and then that's when I had to call all my D-line friends and give them much respect because, in college, I don't know if you did it to your D-line. I was like, man, I play every snap. Why y'all got to rotate so much? You know what I'm saying? But then I got the likes of that, hitting that 300-pounder every play and pushing on it, man. You got to take some blows in that. So then I went on to Calgary, man, and, went through that season, then hurt. I couldn't wait till that first contact. I got that first contact, and guess what happened in that first contact? I tore my foot up again, man. And then at this time, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back. They called me to come back. I think about going back, and then I was like, at this time, my kids are around 6, 5, 6. They started to play t-ball, and I said, man, I'm gonna hang it up. My wife didn't believe me. She's like, I would not believe that until it happens. And I was like, yeah, it's it.
Yeah, and Rod Davis, what a career to hang your hat on, my man. 9-year professional career, and like I said, they could put you on the Mount Rushmore nasty bunch in your Southern Miss career, man. So, you just poke your chest out, hold your head up high, and I'm just proud to be friends with you, everything you did, man. So, but man, you got that drive, you got that competition, that fire about you. And man, it just seems like it's a perfect fit for coaching at that point. So, man, what do you do? And make the high school level someplace you kind of really feel you want to be at. So you get in high school coaching, and now where you're at, you're heading to your 5th year at Florence High School as the head football coach. Man, what's this experience been for you, passing all your knowledge and just expertise to all of these young men?
Man, good. And it's just like my playing career. It started slow. It started with me getting my butt knocked out. You know, like I said, you know, with me losing my starting spot playing, with here, you know, winning 1 game, but it then turned it around last year and go 7-4. So I feel like how my playing career started is how my coaching started. It started out hard, but I needed that hardness because it's going to make me grind even more. So, man, just being able to, you know, give my knowledge and my expertise and let them know, man, I'm not just talking. I lived it. You know what I'm saying? We can go to any part, you know what I'm saying? We can talk about anything part of that comes with football. We can talk about part of life. I can give you ample advice about it, no matter what the situation is. And I think I hold that standard to my heart. Like I say, I want one day for one of the kids to look back and, man, I did something that Bauer did for me. I did something that Nix did for me. You know what I'm saying? That kind of changed my platform of where I'm going in life. So, man, it's been great. You know, we're study building. I got 2 boys in the program now. I got my youngest in 9th grade and the other was in 10th grade. So, man, it was crazy putting both of them on my roster this year. Like, man, I'm getting old. My kids are in high school. So I'm trying to coach them up and enjoy it at the same time. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I can't be dad, but I can't be coach. So it's kind of something I've been juggling with, but, man, I won't change it for the world.
Yeah, when I'm around Southern Miss people, man, your name pops up a lot. What's Rod up to? What's he doing? People I don't know. And I said, man, he's a head football coach up at Florence. And you talk about a group of guys that are lucky to be led by that guy. I mean, Rod Davis is your football coach, people. You are truly blessed, and you just can't have a better leader right there. So, but congrats on all the success with Florence, and good luck in year 5, man. Family life, Rod just gave me a little taste of it right there. What else going on with the family life, man?
Man, what's crazy is, man, can you help with me and my wife made 17. Today's our 17-year anniversary, man.
Oh, timing, man. Happy anniversary. There you go.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. I have 3 kids. Me and her have 2 of our own. Like I said, they're in 10th and 11th grade. 10th and 9th grade. My oldest is in 11th grade, man. Like I mentioned before, been married today, made 17 great years to Blossom. Her maiden name Blossom Mabry. I met her down at Southern Miss. I want to say my sophomore year, and we kind of been, you know, together since then, man. It's been great times. It's been trials and tribulations, but, man, wouldn't change it for the world. You know, she's been, you know, through those times, all those hard times, man, when nobody seen me at my lowest point, when I didn't know if I wanted to give up or didn't know if, you know, if it was, I'm doing the right thing. She stuck by me, and, man, she's been my rock ever since. So I'm thankful for having her, and just God bless, you know what I'm saying, us and continue to grow.
And Rod, speaking of thankful, man, Southern Miss Nation's thankful to have you as just a tremendous ambassador for Southern Miss. You stay involved. I see you around whenever I go to stuff. I run into you, man, and I'm honored to call you friend. So do you have any final words for the Southern Miss Nation from the great Rod Davis?
Man, all I have is let's keep the support. Let's keep showing up. Let's keep showing up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Everything happens for a reason. I think Coach Hall, our basketball program, everything is on the up and up. And I hope everybody's seeing that, start showing up and showing out. You know what I'm saying? You'll see my face around a little bit more. You know, some days I make it there late because, you know, we play on Friday nights, but you'll definitely be able to see me. Southern Miss to the top, man. And remember, represent the school you went to. Southern Miss to the top.
Man, great closing words right there. Let's keep supporting. I think Will Hall's got this thing headed in the right direction. So, man, what an honor it was to share your story, Rod Davis. And like I said, I'm honored to call you my friend, man, and see you around Southern Miss. You know, one of the greatest linebackers, defenders in the history of Southern Miss football. Period. Southern Miss athletics, one of the greatest that wear the black and gold. So I guess one thing the fans might like to see is a closing comment from both of us. Rod Davis, as always, it's Southern Miss
to the top.
To the top. There it is, baby. Well, I hated ending that interview with Rod Davis because I enjoyed it so much. Well, as you know, being a diehard Golden Eagle fan, sometimes it can be a hair-raising, blood pressure rising, near heart attack experience with some of the wins and losses experiences that we felt through the years. And one occurred last year in a football game at Texas State. It was under a minute left, and we were losing the game and needed a big play on 4th down. And dang, did we get one. Zach Wilkie connected with Chandler Pittman on a deep ball. And I tell you what, I about jumped through my ceiling in the living room from excitement when that play happened. But with all that said, let's let Chandler Pittman tell you more about the story.
This is Chandler Pittman here at USM, number 2, running back, also known as Superbacks. I'm here to take you play-by-play in preparation for the week of Texas State game. From the whole week, we knew they played a lot of cover 2. You know, they leave a lot of things open on the back end, so we were going to take advantage of it. But me, I didn't know I'd be in that situation. But when the coach called my number, I knew I was ready to step up for the task, and I knew he trusted me. So, you know, it was a 4-verse concept. Zach Wilkie rolled out, you know, kind of a busted play. And we got it done. We got it done. He hit me from behind. I got behind the corner, got behind the defender, made him got moved, missing the secondary. You know, it was off to the races after that. But yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for Pete and the NIL and To the Top Collective for all the things they do for us and athletes. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for sending that story into the show, Chandler Pittman. Well, that's it for another edition of Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we're on a push for 1,000+ subscribers right now. YouTube limits us to what we can do on that platform until we get 1,000+. So I'm going to ask you to do something absolutely free and easy to do. Take a second out of your day, and that's to head over to our YouTube channel, Anyone, Anywhere, Anytime, and press that subscribe button. Well, until next time, as always, it's Southern Miss to the top.